Founder Morgan Wooten. Nowhere else will you have this much talent on the floor at the same time. It's the perfect environment to evaluate.
It absolutely is. And of course, you know, the McDonald's All-American game, you do so many other things off the court. So you get an opportunity to truly see the character of these young men as well as their personalities. But this is what we're all here for, to see them hoop.
The West in the white, the East in the gold. We do have a running clock, 10-minute quarters, and we're using the college three-point line. We have two three-point lines here at Millennium High School, but we're using the deeper one. Looking for an early post touch to Arafon Diane, who's headed to Houston. A throwback big, almost 300 pounds and 7 feet tall.
And he knows how to use that 300 pounds, very physical in the painted area, although that time can't hang on to the basketball.
And Jordan Smith Jr. the other way. Stokes got a piece of it, the chase down block. What do you think about this class overall here at 26?
I think it's a very deep class, a very talented class. You look at Tyron Stokes going to the jumper, unable to get it to go, but you consider his skill, his size, his athleticism. He's the complete package for not only the college level, but moving forward into the NBA level. But then you've got a guy like Caleb Holt, who's an elite defender, going up against a great competitor in Jordan Smith. These two guys going at it. And you think about now, you're already talking about two of the top 5 players in the country right there matched up.
Another look here. Should this have been a goaltend?
It absolutely should have been a goaltend. It hit the glass first. But again, this is also a scrimmage for the officials. Yeah. So yeah, they're getting warmed up for the big game on Tuesday as well.
Damian Gonzalez, Marcus Hicks, Michael Ojeda are donating their time today. We are told that is true. As Tony Bryant missed the jumper for the East, but the offensive rebound, and now a loose ball. Again, how about the hustle in the scrimmage of the McDonald's All-American game? We saw it in the girls earlier. It's the same thing every year, Corey.
But not uncharacteristic at all for the two guys you saw getting on the floor, Brandon McCoy Jr. as well as Caleb Holt. Both these guys are elite with their competitive nature. Both have represented USA basketball a number of times, winning gold medals, and so they're used to competing on the big stage.
And the lefty, Anthony Thompson, one of the best shooters in the class, knocks down the triple to put the East on the board.
And you talk about size and skill. Anthony Thompson, when he's able to shoot the basketball that way, he makes him so dangerous with that 6'9" frame from beyond the arc.
Thompson headed to Ohio State, the Buckeyes' first 5-star recruit in a dozen years. Go back to D'Angelo Russell.
See, I was waiting on that. I wasn't even going to call you out, but I said, when you say that, you got to tell me who the last guy was. I tell you what, D'Angelo Russell, McDonald's All-American, he was special as well. Had a tremendous freshman year at Ohio State. Thompson, I'm sure, looking to duplicate that type of success.
Thompson, a hometown product as well, Lebanon, Ohio. So staying in state to become a Buckeye. Here is Brandon McCoy Jr. along with Tyron Stokes, the two highest ranked undecided players in the game this week. McCoy focused on Michigan, Arkansas, Miami, and Alabama.
Whoever gets Brandon McCoy Jr. will get an elite athlete as well as playmaker, as you see Arizona native Cameron Williams knocking down the 3-ball. We talked about Anthony Thompson and his size and shooting ability. Well, I tell you what, Cameron Williams, a couple inches taller, but still that same skill.
Now the steal by McCoy. Cameron Williams has all 5 for the West. And McCoy hitting the floor along with Tony Bryant this time. Yeah, what a start for Cameron Williams here in the scrimmage.
Yeah, the number 3 player in the country right now, headed to Duke to be a Blue Devil, and showing his touch from beyond the arc is absolutely super skilled for a guy that's 6'11".
Diane passes out of the double team. McCoy on the attack. And the whistle blows. Yeah, so Duke is trading in, most likely, one Cameron for another. Might as well just say it. Of course, Cameron Boozer was one of the MVPs in this game a year ago. And Cameron Williams, a very different player, is on his way to Durham.
I don't think you can bring up a game or a tournament that Cameron Boozer was not the MVP of. He's been the most productive player throughout this, either the elite class of 2025 McDonald's All-Americans, as well as this, you know, loaded freshman group in college, but along the way, there may be guys that are more talented, maybe guys that are more skilled, but no one has ever been more productive than Cameron Boozer has through this stage of his career.
Another #1 recruiting class for Duke. Whether it's Coach K at the helm or John Shire, another loaded group on its way to Duke. Here comes Stokes. Diane puts it in.
But that's where you see the true skill of Tyron Stokes. It's his playmaking. Everybody talks about the size and the athleticism, but at 6'7", 225 pounds, his ability to make plays, not just in the open court, but in tight spaces as well. He knew the entire time he was going to Arfon running the floor, just giving his big man time to get in position.
Court, you said it at practice this morning. You see Tyron Stokes long-term as a big point guard.
I believe he will be. Now, again, I'm not comparing him because you know I don't do that. But he will play a similar role as to what you see with big guards like a Luka Doncic, like a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 6'6", 6'7" guys. But one thing about Tyron, athletically, he's far superior. He may not be as skilled today with his scoring as those guys were at this stage, but his athleticism and his playmaking is absolutely on par.
How do you compare him to some of the top players in this game a year ago? We mentioned Boozer, A.J. DeBonsa, Darren Peterson, who took over the college game this year as freshman.
I think from a mentality standpoint, I think Tyron has much more of a killer mentality than those guys do. I'm not including Boozer in that class.
Gotcha.
But Tyron is very good friends with both Cooper Flagg as well as A.J. DeBonsa, so those guys have been close for a very, very long time. I think he has just a little bit more killer instinct than those guys do, even though they're both taller and maybe more offensively skilled outside of passing. Passing is Tyron's greatest skill, and I believe that's what he will be able to showcase not only this week, but also as he moves forward in his career.
Second units on the floor for both teams now. Josiah Jervis pulls the three, future Michigan State Spartan. And here comes the West. And a steal for Talon Kinney. Headed to Kansas, and he's headed to the rim for two.
Talon Kinney showing that the defensive presence here is always going to matter. And that's one of the things when you come to this game, and especially in the scrimmage, NBA scouts are looking for guys that are going to compete. Talon Kinney showing that he's going to do it on the defensive end as well.
Caleb Gaskins, the Miami commit, off target. Here is Kinney, top 20 player in the class. Jervis couldn't find Jackson Richardson on the cut. And Darius Ratliff misses the three. The shot clock is malfunctioning. We've always had it for both the
Don't
scrimmage
worry,
and the
we're not
boys,
going to need it.
With this talent, you're right, Corey, they probably don't need it. Paul Biancardi is somewhere saying, where's the shot clock right now? And where is Quinn Costello? He splashes in a three.
And Costello, I'm sure, checking out the Wolverines earlier today with a rout over Tennessee, headed to the Final Four.
The definition of a stretch big. What a pickup for Dusty May and the Wolverines. Would expect to see him in the three-point contest at the Sprite Jam Fest tomorrow night.
Great pass.
Gaskins trying to work around Richardson. And a foul.
Two guys coming out of Florida. They played against each other a time or two before. Caleb Gaskins as well as Jackson.
Teammates last year.
As well as Jackson Richardson. They were teammates along with a couple of guys winning a state championship last year that turned out to be pretty good players.
Playing with the Boozer twins at Columbus High School in Miami. Gaskins remain there. Richardson heading to Southeastern Prep Academy. Darius Ratliff, son of Theo Ratliff, again playing with his twin brother Adonis. Both the Ratliff twins, along with Josiah Jervis from Archbishop Stepinac in New York. 3 McDonald's All-Americans coming from Step. And the Ratliff twins continuing the legacy started by their father, Theo. Costello couldn't hit this time. Offensive board. J.J. Andrews denied at the rim by Latrell Almond. And Christian Collins missed the step back. Oh, Kinney had Costello on skates, missed the long two.
This is a young man who's been very impressive throughout the week thus far. Austin Gooseby going to the midi, unable to get it to go, but he shot the basketball extremely well for their first couple of practices.
Gooseby headed to Texas, the product of the Lone Star State. From Melissa, north of Dallas. Final minute of the first quarter. And here comes Costello. Collins off the spin, had it stripped. Kinney, the nice pass ahead, and Jackson Richardson elevates. Maybe the best pure high flyer in the class.
And for those who haven't seen Jackson, that's light work for what you will see from him. Tune in tomorrow night to see more at our Jam Fest.
Son of Jason, the two-time slam dunk contest winner in the NBA. There's a jam for Austin Gooseby. So under 10 here in the opening quarter. Kinney gets the bigger Gaskins, puts it off just in time. And off target. So the West up 13-9 at the end of. We will see him doing games in the ACC one day like Corey. That would be awesome. Part of that second unit for the West, which leads by 4 as we start this second quarter. Again, a running clock. And most of the starters are back on the floor for both squads. Jordan Smith Jr., the number 2 player in the class, missing the jumper. Tyron Stokes at number 1. Cameron Williams, the Phoenix native, getting a chance to play in the McDonald's All-American game. His hometown had the first 5 points for the West. And now the floater for Caleb Holt, headed to Arizona, about an hour and a half down the road in Tucson from where we are.
I love the way Caleb Holt has competed this week, but more importantly, look how vocal he is on both ends of the floor. Always in the right position, will fit in very well with Tommy Lloyd in the way that they love to defend at Arizona. And again, we're talking about the programs. I mean, the rich get richer, right? You got a Final Four program that now will get a player like Caleb Holt to most likely come in and fill the shoes of Braden Burries, who we're suspecting will play his only 1 year in college, but it's been a great year thus far.
Speaking of Arizona, Bruce Branch III at the line for the East from Gilbert, about 40 miles to the east, on his way to BYU. He is next in line after A.J. DiBonsa.
And you're talking about 2 guys who are teammates at Prolific Prep. However, one on the West who's from the East, and one on the East that's from the West. So
make it make sense, Corey.
It doesn't have to. It's all about the matchups, making sure we get to see them play against the best.
Cameron Williams, a long 2 off target, and Jordan Smith Jr. skies for the rebound.
So 2 players, Maximo and J. Crow, J2 out for the scrimmage, so it makes it an even 10 players for the West. The rotations get to be simple. Not as simple with the 12 healthy players for the East.
There is Stokes to the rack for the throwdown. Adams dealing with that sprained ankle from... Stokes, the quick pass ahead to Cameron Williams, who draws the foul. Once again, Corey, the vision of Tyron Stokes for the quick hit ahead.
Well, and that's what he does. I mean, we talk about all the different gifts that he has, but it's his passing that I believe is at the top of the chart. This time, his athleticism allows him to go get the easy bucket at the rim. But a nice find, the cross court from Arfan to Cameron Williams from the corner 3-ball, knocking down his second distance shot in this game, of course, on the line. So he's got to work on that. We'll make sure he gets those. But again, guys with big feet have a hard time shooting in that corner because, again, when your shoes are almost the same size as the amount of space that you have, 22 inches between the line and that sideline, you don't have a lot of space for guys who wear the shoes in the high teens.
Only so much room there. Boy, how many times early in the season do you see those turnovers by players who recognize, oh my gosh, I actually out of bounds. Branch draws the foul. Forget about the putback. And a timeout here with under 5 to play in the second quarter. A little breather for both teams with the West up by 9.
Yeah. I know you decided to, I knew I had some reason to it. Yeah. I need it.
So Tyron Stokes already flashing his immense talent for Jeff Kaufman, his coach this week with the West. Kaufman, the head coach at Coronado High School in Las Vegas. He was an assistant in this game 3 years ago with his good buddy Grant Rice, the head coach at Bishop Gorman. And now Kaufman, an excellent coach himself, gets the opportunity to be the head coach here in the McDonald's All-American game. Once again, that first unit will check out for both teams. And as we said, Kaufman's team shorthanded for the scrimmage without Maxie Adams and Jason Crow Jr., so an even 10. So that second unit checks in. Over to Corey.
Here with
Cameron Williams. J.J. Andrews headed to Arkansas. Had a nice finish a moment ago. Couldn't hit from the outside. And look out, Jackson Richardson blocked at the rim. But a foul called against Christian Collins, who was not about to let him have it that easy. Now Jackson Richardson can soar like very few in the high school game. Had the dunk earlier, but Collins commits the foul and denies him here. So Richardson will have to do his work at the line. Headed to Alabama, unlike dad and brother. Jason, of course, to start Michigan State. Jace went to Michigan State, but Jackson carving his own path, heading to Alabama to play for Nate Oates. He's headed to Arkansas, and he's got a chance at a three-point play. And Andrews with the tape on the ears. Yes, he's got the earrings in. You got to cover them up. J.J. Andrews has got the tape on the ears, and he's also got the game, the and one there.
And J.J. told us a story the other day, too. He talks about his name is the Big Show. I told his dad earlier, I was like, look, we got to name him Big Show Jr., because if you see his dad is an imposing figure.
Sean was a two-time All-American on the offensive line for Arkansas, All-Pro with the Philadelphia Eagles. J.J., far different build, let's say.
I think
6'7".
J.J. is put together very well for a young man. However, he ain't the big show in that house. We know there can only be one big show in that household, and we know who it is.
Final 20 seconds of the half. West up by 10. He's trying to cut into it before halftime. Allman trying to create. Headed to Oklahoma State. Leaving it for Jackson Richardson. Jervis. And the West with an opportunity from half court. Boy, Collins almost tried to guide that in.
first half, and the ball moved well.
And is that one of the things that you've seen as of late with the trend of the last few years, really since the game returned from COVID? The defensive and the competitive nature of these guys really starting to go on an uptick?
I think it's on the uptick, and I think it's also a credit to, our grassroots in the United States. Everybody's really kind of addressed, fundamental basketball, efficient basketball, playing with IQ, and I think you're starting to see that, in these games now. Kids are playing with a better feel for the game.
What also has to be special for you, Joe, in particular, is, of course, you were the head coach at Bishop O'Connell in Arlington, Virginia, and one of your players earned the honor of being in this game. Darius Bivens at the point guard spot, playing for the East, as Tyron Stokes throws it down for the West.
He's been great this week. He's been phenomenal.
What is it like, one of your players in high school earning the opportunity to play here?
Well, I think this is the crown jewel of high school basketball. It's what every kid grows up dreaming to be, and so I'm very proud of him and all the other 23 boys and the 24 girls that earned their way here. And obviously it matters so much to them. And many of them say they're not even sure if they're going to make it, and yet they're the top 5 player in the country. So it's obviously a great honor, and it's obviously the history of basketball.
That's a long two for Anthony Thompson, the sharpshooter headed to Ohio State. And I know looking ahead, Joe, to next year, it'll be the 50th anniversary of this signature event. And with Corey right here, of course, in 1991, McDonald's All-American, you guys are so focused year after year to honor alumni. That is going to make it that much more special for number 50.
Yeah, I mean, without it, Corey Alexander, class of 91, Monica Wright-Rogers on the girls' side, class of 2006, are going to be special liaisons with Terry Lynn Wooten, myself, and the McDonald's selection committee to really bring back all the alumni back. And, you know, we talk about the legacy. They're the legacy. And then additionally, you know, they're the family. And so we want them all to come back on the 50th and really celebrate not only the history of the McDonald's All-American Games, but the history of basketball for the last 50 years. I mean, it's been the who's who. And I just want to say, you know, Corey and I were talking earlier, he only got 10 minutes in the McDonald's All-American Game. He's still fired up about it.
Still bothered by it.
Don't remind him.
And Paul Pierce is still worried about the scoring record. So it's obviously, that's what makes them all great players, because they're so competitive, which obviously we see every year.
Yeah, so the story in 95, Paul Pierce wearing a different jersey. His jersey was stolen, right?
Right. I'm obviously the 235s, and they went back and saw. I think he tied Michael Jordan's record, but then Jonathan Bender broke it with 31, and you know, which is a great story. And oh, she's the boss.
Yeah, she's the boss.
Joe, thanks so much for the time. We appreciate it as always. What you, Terry Lynn, everybody else associated with the games do every year to honor the very best, the next generation of stars in basketball. It's just so good, off the charts. Thanks again.
I appreciate it. I want to a little shout out to our selection committee who do such a great job, and you know, it's a voting process, so I really want to thank them for all their hard work, because they just do a great job, and we appreciate what you guys do to support the game.
Joe, thank you so much.
Good to be with you.
All the best. West led by 10 at the break, up by 9 at the moment as we approach the midway mark of this third quarter. Again with the running clock here for the scrimmage, and a foul on the interior. You know, Tyron Stokes had just 2 points in that first half quarter. A couple of buckets as we were talking with Joe asserting himself. It was a different lineup to start this third quarter. Stokes and with a number of members from that second unit as Anthony Thompson scores for the East.
But you see where, when you talk about that, it puts Stokes running the show in his natural position as a facilitator and being a playmaker and ball handler, which I think we will see from him in the future, in the very near future of his basketball career.
Oh, down the lane and rejected. Darius Ratliff got a piece of it from Austin Gooseby. Yeah, blocking shots just like Dad Theo back in the day. Oh, Jordan Smith Jr. trying to follow the miss. Rippey keeps it alive. And a foul. And Anthony Thompson will head to the line.
Not as much about the numbers as how he's going to be able to play. If he's going to have the basketball in his hands, what things are going to look like for him once he gets on campus.
And I think I know what you mean, but just to clarify, the number being NIL and the package, so to speak, that might come your way.
That's a huge part of today's game.
Yes. Caleb Holt couldn't bank it in. Deane tried to tip it in, and it's claimed by Jackson Richardson. And Richardson headed to the line himself. Man, so explosive, much like Dad. And brother Jace was in the dunk contest this year, of course, with the Orlando Magic. But something that Jackson Richardson, Corey, has said the last couple of years, especially last year as a junior, when he was playing alongside the Boozer twins and Caleb Gaskins there at Columbus High School, I don't want to be known as just a high flyer. He has rounded out his game.
He really has. He's put in the work to become a better basketball player, not just showing off his athleticism, but you saw a lot of that with his ball handling, his ability to get to the rim on that last possession. Now, he was still hungry. He wanted to dunk it, but enough contact to take him away from that. But again, he has absolutely put the work in. And again, we talk about his father so often, but we got to give, you know, Mom's a real MVP. We got to give Jackie a lot of credit because she actually coached both he and his brother Jace when they were younger here on the West Coast. So it's been a lot of
work. Had a poignant interview with Malika Andrews on NBA Today, along with his mother a few weeks back. He was in the hospital for 2 weeks at 10 years old. He considered quitting basketball. He still uses an inhaler occasionally during games to help him, but he says, I feel like I'm past tense. Adonis and Darius, numbers for the West. And Cameron Williams flips it in. Darius Bivens knocks it down. Again, we just had his high school coach, Joe Wooten, with us a moment ago. Bivens also undecided, actually, like Stokes and McCoy, as we mentioned, on the west side. Holt rising up for three. Oh, McCoy soaring for the rebound and a foul called. An advantage for the East, and Jackson Richardson gets up again. McCoy tries the lob. Williams too strong with it. Collins couldn't follow. Final 15 seconds of this third quarter.
The East making a nice run here, down 4. Opportunity to make this a one-possession game at the end of the third.
Bivens against Holt. Now in trouble. Jackson Richardson. Bryant, and a foul. Christian Collins arguing his case, but a foul called at the end of the third, contesting Tony Bryant.
And that's a great call by the officials. The contact did happen before the third quarter buzzer went off. So Tony Bryant at the line is able to knock down the first one. And now a chance to make it a 2-point game with only 10 minutes remaining to start this fourth quarter.
Big third quarter from the East, down by 10 at halftime. Collins was earlier. Yeah, Caleb Holt has been on the record saying he wants to get into broadcasting as well. I mean, they just want to follow your lead, Corey. Why wouldn't they?
Finish playing. Let's do that.
Don't do both at the same time. Look out. I was ready, Corey. Hands up.
At least you got your hands up and you didn't duck.
That's right.
That's the most concerning
like somebody
part.
else we know.
If you would have ducked, we would have had to send you out of the gym before the game even ended.
I'm ready.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. That's someone else.
1 point West lead for the lead. Josiah Jervis putting the East on top with a three.
Just a number beside a name, it doesn't matter. However, they all look at it and say, I should be here. I think I'm better than that guy. I should be here. So this is a great opportunity for you to come out and show it as we get a list of those top 10 players in the country right now. And you look at, the guys and where they're suited. This Western team on paper should win this game. However, you don't play the game on paper, and there's a lot of fire in the guys wearing the East uniform.
And you might wonder why were players number 8 and 9, Babatunde Oludoden and Dylan Migo, not selected. It comes down to not playing enough games for their high schools. They were ineligible for selection. Obviously talented enough to be on this course. And banking it in, Austin Gooseby, like you said, Corey, has been a standout here early this week.
Very impressive. His shooting, his ability to attack the basket, playing off the bounce, making plays. Part of the reason why he's been a winner at dynamic prep throughout his high school career.
Number 2 ranked team in the country. They'll compete in Chipotle Nationals later this week in Indianapolis on the ESPN network. J.J. Andrews, maybe the tape on the ears is the special sauce for him. West up by 4. Jervis on the attack. Here's Collins again, running the show and pulling up. Closing in on the midway mark of this fourth quarter. Taylon Kinney, the point guard, going to Kansas. Around Caleb Gaskins, setting up Jervis. And it bounces through the shooter's roll for Jervis, another three.
How about the impact Jervis has had in this game? You want to talk about competitors' time in Colorado Springs. And hearing that he was reclassing up to join this 2026 class, even more impressive as he wants to get his journey started right away at BYU.
17 years old, the youngest player in the game, and he ties it up at 43. Now try to keep up with Tyron Stokes. And Richardson the block. But Deane recovered it. Cameron Williams sweeping in, and he draws the foul.
But I love to see that Cameron Williams, not just a shooter, he can play off the bounce, attacking the rim, going strong to finish that one. Trying to get to the dunk. And again, Cameron Williams is a young man, honestly, a late bloomer. He just continues to get better and better each and every time I see him. Also, seems to grow an inch every time I see him. So it seems like he was just 6'9" last summer. And now you look at him, he's probably closer to 6'10", 6'11 now.
Now, Paul Biancardi says he might have the best pure upside in the class. Getting 6'11" with that skill set. That continues to grow. Oh, the quick move. Darius Bivens, the spin cycle.
Bivens, one of the true point guards, but his quickness and ability allow him to be able to get into the paint.
So it'll resemble closer to a normal game at this point. And why not? East by a point with the ball. Bryant, oh, a tough jumper over Deane.
That's an advantage for Bryant to be able to pull Deane away from the bucket and be able to play off the dribble, getting to that mid-range jumper.
McCoy saved it for the West.
And all the players looking for a 10-second call. However, without the shot clock working, the officials have zero chance to be able to call that.
Kind of hard to tell. Stokes gets it up. Oh, Deane rocks the rim. Nice find again by Stokes to Deane.
Now, with no shot clock, how are they going to do this?
Seriously.
Because the East, not sure, they recognize that don't necessarily have to take a shot.
Instead, Tony Bryant and hold the rebound. Again, shot clock malfunctioned early in the game. We played without it, and oh my goodness, the pass from McCoy off the back of Caleb Holt. Right out. Did McCoy trying to deny, and the foul is called. And will that put Rippey at the line? I believe it will. Yep, for two. Deron Rippey, as we said, headed to Duke, pure point guard. He told us, I just try to make it hard on my opponent every time out. That is his mentality. It's the first.
Well, he says he wants to be the best player to ever come out of Brooklyn. I asked him, who are the guys you're chasing? Two pretty good ones, two McDonald's All-Americans. Of course, 1995 class, Stephon Marbury and Sebastian Telfair.